As a business owner, I see you trying to control the chaos of your life, your kids, your clients, searching for ways to find more time. You're not short on ambition. I know that for real, but just time. You've got a lot on your plate, and most days it feels like you're juggling a dozen work-related tasks with no breathing room at all. If you're ready to improve your productivity, it doesn't mean you need to hustle harder, friend. It means learning how to manage your time with intention. As a business owner and a content creator, your time is one of the greatest assets, and how you use it can either move you forward towards your goals or keep you stuck in busy work. But the good news is you don't need to overhaul your entire routine. You just need a few effective ways to work smarter. So today I want to share with you 7 practical habits that will help you improve your productivity and stay focused on what truly moves your business forward without sacrificing your personal life or your peace of mind. This one is not going to be a shock to you. Habit 1, track your time. If you want to improve your productivity, you need to start with a clear picture of how you are actually spending your time. Time tracking is one of those most effective ways to build awareness around your habits, especially when balancing content creation, your client work, and your family's taxi service. It's the answer to the question, what did I accomplish today? When you track your time, you'll start to recognize patterns, like the best time of day for deep work and when you're the most likely to get distracted. You'll also see how much time goes into important work versus repetitive tasks or things that don't actually move your business forward. This habit gives you clarity, and that clarity then leads to better decisions about how to actually structure your daily schedules. Productivity isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters the most, whether it's for your family or for your business. Habit 2 is to create systems to improve your productivity. I'm sure you could have guessed this one was coming, but creative systems is for productive people. The point of a system is to help you eliminate the number of decisions that you must make, stop your procrastination, and possibly even any overwhelm or the amount of sticky notes with random thoughts and tasks that are laying on your desk. I can almost hear you thinking though, creating system, what does that even mean? Because systems are finding easy ways to do things in less time. Repeatable processes that keep you from starting over from scratch each and every single time that you do it. At a nutshell, that's what a system is. I'm going to give you an example of one of my very favorite systems that I've ever created, and that's around meal planning. So recipes, whether they're new or they're old, any recipe that I make is gathered in Notion. When I'm on Pinterest or I'm out on the web and I discover a recipe that I want to try, it goes into Notion underneath my recipes. And the name will always begin. I put some asterisks in front of it, of course, so that it bumps it to the top with the word new, and then a couple asterisks after that. But that allows me to be able to find those recipes that I want to try quickly, because I really like to try new recipes. Usually at least one new recipe a week. Once I've made the dinner for my family, I'll ask everyone to rate the recipe on a scale of 1 to 5. If the recipe average score is 3 or higher, it will be assigned a week in my meal planning. So I have 1 through 8 in my meal planning planner, and then I'll just slot that in where I feel like that recipe would fit really good with the other meals that are in for that particular week. I hope that makes sense. But as I said, it's one of my favorite systems because at the end of the workday, the last decision I ever want to make is what's for dinner. And of course, right now, my kids are at college, so I don't have to face that. But I still have my husband that will ask these same questions. But meal planning for me mostly happens on Sunday, and it saves me time and brain power all week. And apparently this habit has rubbed off because my daughter does the exact same thing for her and her husband. Let me walk you through one more system. And this one, I know. Everything has its place. So whether it's a physical item or informational item, it's best to always have one single place to put something away. And I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I love my label maker. So if you do too, label the home for those physical items around your house. So let me elaborate. It's not enough to just label the home for the item. After all, the item actually must be put away in its home for the system to work properly. And when you label things, your family can help put those things away for you. Besides physical items, having a system for information is also important. So I'm a big pen and paper person, and undoubtedly information will gather up in my bullet journal or in my planner. And not everything needs to be kept. However, what goes into Notion for safekeeping, because I have a notebook in there as well, is once it has been put into Notion, I mark it off in my bullet journal or my planner, wherever that note is at. And I'll put a slash on that actual note that it's been added to Notion. And the page number, if it's something that's not needed, and that page number, like for a bullet journal, when you number it, if it's something that's not needed, that I don't need to keep it was just a random notes for the day, then I put an X through that page so I know I can always bypass it. So here's the connection to your business. If you're creating a system for something like dinner to save you energy, imagine what you can do in your business with a system. Systematizing your content creation, setting up templates for emails or proposals, or using Honeybook to help you with that systemization, so much easier. Or using a project management platform like Asana to organize your long-term projects. These are all simple formulas that will help you take back your time. Productive people don't rely on motivation, they rely on systems. That includes how they run their business, their home, and their actual day. So habit 3 is to create lists for a productive life. Accordingly, the next area to improve your productivity is with lists. Not only writing the list, but knowing where you put them. In truth, you're not very productive if you spend too much time looking for your list. And I can speak from experience with this one. That's why I always find a home for my lists. But lists include not only your to-do list, but that could be also your not to-do list. So let me guess, you know what I'm talking about with the not to-do list? Or think of it as the things to delete off of your to-do list, the things that you should not be doing or not to do. Or perhaps the list of reasons why you're not eating sugary treats. I kind of wish I had that list about 5 minutes ago when I ate a handful of M&Ms and peanuts. Yes, this can be a true not to-do list for you as well. But what type of not to-do list do you need to create for your own productivity? So the next thing when it comes to the list that I want to talk about is something that we do or did in our family. We still do, again, when the kids are home from college during the summer. But for the most part, it's just my husband and I, and we still use it. And that's using the Notes app in your phone, or we used also Google Keep as well for your shopping list. So stick with me. You're out running errands and you pop into the grocery store to get a few items that you know you need to pick up for dinner, and your running grocery list is hanging on the side of the fridge. Now, this was me. It used to be me because I always had a hanging list on the side of my fridge. And then if no one was home, I wasn't able to know what was on the list. So that was where the frustration point came, where I'm like, I need to find a solution for it. So that's with the Google Keep. And I love it because no matter what, if I'm just out in the kitchen and we run out of something, I can put that immediately on the list, or I can put it in my Target cart if it's something like that. And whenever I get to the limit, I think $30, then I can have it all shipped to the house, whatever is in that Target cart. So just the little things like that is ways to make it easier or to create a little system for the things that you need to purchase for your home. Now let's talk about how this applies to your business. Just like your grocery list saves you time, your daily tasks need the same structure. So using a digital task management tool like Asana, Notion, or even a simple spreadsheet, if you feel more comfortable with that, will help you track everything from client work to your content creation. Or maybe you just want to have that stuff in your calendar and you want to time block it that way. You can do it. You use that system as well. But keeping a to-do list or a project plan or even a list of tasks that can wait or to be delegated to a team member, it's huge. And don't underestimate the power of your not to-do list in your business as well, because that will keep you focused on the most important tasks. and give you permission to say no to the things that don't align with your goals. And not sure what to delegate? We'll use the Eisenhower matrix to help you decide what's urgent, what's important, and what you can hand off. Because it's just a simple framework that helps you sort your tasks by priority, so you're not just doing more, you're doing more of what matters. Having clear, accessible lists leads to greater sense of accomplishment. I know you will feel that too, because you're not just staying busy, you're staying intentional with your time and what you're working on. And habit 4 is to map your work to improve your productivity. So time is valuable. I think I've already covered that. Therefore, not having a map of the work that needs to be done will cause you to be unproductive, procrastinate, and possibly miss deadlines. And we can't afford to miss those deadlines in our business or even in our personal life. When you map out your work in advance, you know when you need to do something and when you need to ask others for items that they are responsible for. Because your family, you can delegate to them as well. Don't forget that. To put it another way, I want you to create a project plan for your big and your little projects. So David Allen, in his book, Getting Things Done, states that anything that's more than one task is considered a project, because you have to do multiple steps in order to get to the end result. So that's how he determines what would be a project. And if you struggle to chunk your work down, start with the big items and then break those down from there so that you can figure out everything that you need to do in order to get that done. In business, this step is essential for managing long-term projects and staying focused on the most critical tasks in front of you. Without a clear plan, you're more likely to waste time on less important work, or worse, get stuck in analysis paralysis. Tools, again, like Asana, ClickUp, or Notion make it easy to break down your work into manageable chunks and assign specific time frames to each of those tasks. And one productivity tip that works well here is schedule time at the start of each day to review what needs to happen. That same habit gives you a head start and helps you make progress without scrambling. You can also do this at the end of each day if you prefer. One Bible verse that I want to leave you with is commit to the Lord whatever you do and he will establish your plans. Now that's Proverbs 16:3, and that's actually the NIV version. But mapping out your work isn't about controlling every moment. It's just about creating space for those intentional progress in your business and in your life. So habit 5 to improve your productivity is with daily goals. This one is a fun one, I think. You can create a good, better, best goal if you'd like to look at it from that standpoint. I've introduced my sister to the good, better, best, and she absolutely loves it. But let me explain. So it would be a good day if I did blank. What's that one goal? If you achieve that today, you'd be happy. That would be enough. That one should be totally achievable. Next is, what would be a better goal? What would be a better day? It would be a better day if you did blank and blank. What are the 2 goals that if you achieve that, you'd be very, very excited? And finally, what's the best goal? It would be the best day if I did blank, blank, and blank. What are 3 goals that if you achieve them would make it the best day ever for your productivity? So here's an example for personal wise. If let's say you wanted to drink more water because, water is good for your brain and for your productivity. A good goal could be just to drink 1 quart of water in the first hour of your day when you're awake. A better goal to be maybe to have 3 quarts of water by 3 p.m. and the best goal would be to have 4 quarts of water by 5 or 6 p.m. Whatever. That's just an example. You can put whatever time frames in there that you want. But this approach to goal setting works in your business too. So at the start of the day, identify your most important tasks, then choose 1 goal that would move your business forward, even if it's something small like scheduling content or following up with a potential client. Having clear goals give your day structure and help you resist distractions. It's also building that consistency over time, which is key to business productivity and long-term momentum. When you define your goals clearly, you give yourself direction, and that's what turns hard work into real progress, friends. Habit number 6 is to batch like items to improve your productivity. If you've been an entrepreneur at all, this is not a new one for you. But batching like items improves your productivity because you're not bouncing from one thing to another. You're keeping your brain focused on just one thing. When you're batching, you can use your focus music with headphones that keep you from getting distracted by all those noises that may be going on around you. But what tasks can you batch to improve your productivity? Do you know what those actually are? I mean, this could be something as simple as setting a timer for your social media engagement, batching and scheduling your social media posts, and then creating your long form content for your business. Now, let's apply it to your business. Batching is essentially helpful when working on content creation, repetitive tasks, or anything that drains your energy when it's done in those small bursts of time. Try setting aside blocks of time to write your emails, prep client material, or plan your weekly calendar. When you're doing similar tasks together, that helps boost your productivity level and it protects your focus. Some people love it, some people hate it, but the Pomodoro technique is one of my favorites for time management techniques to pair with batching. So it's simply you work for 25 minutes. Hey, maybe you need to work less time. I wouldn't suggest you work less time, but you could work more. Maybe you want to work for 50 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. And then after 4 rounds of that, you can take a longer break around 15 or 30 minutes. And this supports your focus without burning you out and keeps your energy just a little bit higher. But do you want to know what's even better? Is to use one of those breaks, like one of those longer breaks, to take a short walk because it's good for your physical health. It clears that mental fog and it gives your brain a reset before jumping into the next part of your production process. When you batch your work and plan breaks with intention, you protect your focus, your time, and your energy. Okay, downhill slope here, friends. Habit 7 is to schedule a hard stop for a productive life. Set boundaries around your time to improve your productivity. Schedule hard stops. Times when, regardless of what you're doing, you shut your laptop, you close your office door, you walk away from your desk, and you call it done. This is one I personally struggle with. Not going to lie to you at all. If I'm on a roll in my office, it can be difficult for me to stop when I'm in the middle of something. And if that's the case, I look at what I can adjust to keep going. What I'm working on, is that more important than what I have planned to work on at the end of the day at my hard stop, which is typically my daily exercise. And I know myself, I tend to have a little bit of wiggle room at the end of the day. For example, I schedule 1 hour to get ready. However, I know if I absolutely needed to, I could take a shower and get ready in 20 minutes. At that moment, I get to choose what's more important. Trying to wrap up what I'm doing in my office and finishing that up, or doing a hard stop and going for my walk or doing my daily exercise and getting ready. Because here's the thing, knowing when the time is right to stop is just as important to when to start. I don't know about you, I love working in my business, so I have a tendency to overwork, and that's not necessarily a good thing. So that's why number 7 is to have those hard stops in there. In business, it's an important step forward to maintain your energy and your long-term focus. When you give yourself a firm endpoint, you train your brain to work with greater intention and urgency during your actual working time. That way you can truly disconnect, recharge, and be present for the rest of the day, whether that's with your family, at the gym, or simply doing something that brings you joy. For me, the hard stop usually looks like grabbing the leashes and heading out with my husband and our dogs. And I'm not going to say the word, but even if I still have more to do, that evening, WALK, helps me mentally shut off work and transition into home. It's part of how I reset, reconnect, and protect the rhythm. And I want that for my personal life, and I crave that for my personal life. This habit also reinforces that work-life balance or that work-life habit that we're trying to put in place, and you don't need to squeeze in extra time every evening to complete tasks. Instead, give yourself permission to stop when the workday ends, trusting that's what's most important will always be there tomorrow. Think of it when you worked in a job. you would actually leave the building, physically walk away and not be there anymore. Okay, so let's wrap this up here, and I'm just going to recap real quick these 7 habits to improve your productivity. So if you're feeling scattered or stretched too thin, go back to the basics. And these 7 habits aren't about doing more, they're about doing what matters the most. So track your time, create systems, make lists, map out your work, set daily goals, batch light tasks, and schedule a hard stop at your end of your day. And let me suggest, if this is new to you, you don't need to implement all 7 at once. Just start with one. Which one do you like the best? And then as you build that habit, you can start to feel more grounded, more focused, and more productive in both your business and in your life. Because how we manage our time isn't just about productivity, it's about purpose. Okay, friends, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you, and I hope you make it a wonderful week.
Yay! Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you found this episode valuable and learned some actionable tips that you can implement in your business so that you can feel accomplished and less stressed. If you enjoyed this show, please take a quick minute to share this with your business bestie, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps me reach more business owners just like you. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, please reach out to me on my website. I've created a form just for you. Remember, with the right system and mindset, you can achieve the success your heart desires. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to chatting with you next time. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful week. And don't forget, let's grow, friends.